And welcome to Brothers of the Serpent podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons and monsters and serpents. From atop the flat earth, we come to you not live from the 10 by 10 by 10 tangent cube of science. And we are here today to talk about turtles.
Meow.
Did you just meow?
Yeah. It's a turtle meow.
Oh yeah, meow.
Turtle meow.
Yeah. So before we get into the turtle stuff, what we got going on in the news these days?
Oh, more ancient cities being found by LiDAR.
Oh yeah, Mexico this time, right?
Yep.
Man.
In this place called Tintuntan.
Or whatever it is.
Tintuntan. Near the city of Tintuntan, a new city, Acapulco. Yeah. Founded by the famous
Which means fleet.
Yeah. No, this is in I guess Western Mexico they did the LiDAR scan and found like 40,000 structures in 35 square kilometers.
Yeah, it's that the headline was like more structures or the same number of structures as Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As many as there are on the island of Manhattan.
That's a lot.
And they're like, it's 900 AD because they found a few things to carbon date.
Yeah.
Which anyway, we've already bitched about that enough.
But no.
The great thing I think about the whole story is that one of the main guys is like, yeah, so basically all the textbooks need to be rewritten, and in 2 years they'll need to be rewritten again.
Yeah, that's right, because they were talking about the ideas about population.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, yeah, so there's been this idea of like the maximum Mayan population, at the height of their civilization was like 1.2 million, something like that. And now they're like, yeah, so it's probably like 20 million. The number's gone way up, and so he's basically saying like this enormous city.
In Guatemala it was like 2 point something to 15.
Yeah, that's right. 2 point something to 15. Yeah,
or 5 to 15, something like that.
Yeah, so the population's increased enormously. Just the idea of it from these cities that they're finding, and basically like the idea now they found 2 of them.
Yeah.
Now they're having to face the idea that they're all like that.
Yeah, this guy, who's saying this stuff? Professor Mesoamerican Archaeology at the University College in London. What the hell was that, Brett?
The official show observer is interrupting the show, ladies and gentlemen.
An unfortunate sound issue between my laptop and my phone.
Feedback, it's all right. Got it handled.
Okay, so this is, Fisher is the guy's name. Is that who it was?
Fisher? I don't know.
No, okay.
Hold up.
I haven't, I'd have to back it up. But anyway, this guy Fisher, whoever he is, I'm trying to find out who he is.
The Fisher King?
Yeah, he's talking about LiDAR, basically. He's saying that LiDAR is likely to lead to further developments. He's everywhere you point the LiDAR instrument, you find new stuff. And that is because we know so little about the archaeological universe in the Americas right now. He said, right now, every textbook has to be rewritten, and 2 years from now, they're going to have to be rewritten again. That's badass.
That is great.
I love that attitude, man.
Yeah. And what did you say? You said much respect to these guys down in Mexico and Central America that are not afraid to go out there and fucking do something and forward the field.
Yeah, I feel like even in the stories I was going on before about the pyramid of the plumed serpent and the tunnels that were found under there, and the tunnel that was found under the pyramid of the moon. Like we went through those stories and we were kind of mocking the idea that like they found the liquid mercury down in there, and they're like, but they're still looking for tombs, right?
Yeah,
we were making fun of it, but really, on the whole, with my feeling from the Central American just sort of the archaeological community down there, they're like no holds bar. They're like, let's fucking find this shit out.
Yeah.
They're using this most state-of-the-art technology. They're finding new shit all the time. They're publishing it, and they're just going for it. And like just like these statements saying like everything needs to be rewritten.
Yeah.
and in 2 years it'll need to be rewritten again is nothing like the sort of American attitude about things.
Yeah, I agree.
In the archaeological community.
And I actually think that some of the stuff that they say is tempered by what they think the American archaeology community wants to hear.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, when they're like, it's a tomb, we're clearly looking for a tomb here, that's because, and like, I know this because of the way they have reacted all throughout the past, like the way they were so careful with the Olmec stuff.
Yeah.
Right? They were afraid that American archaeologists were going to ridicule it. And yeah. So I wonder what they really think about some of this stuff.
Tell me what you really think.
Yeah,
man.
tell me what you really think, man. Well, what I really think is you guys need to do more archaeology using lasers and helicopters. Like, you guys do archaeology with lasers and helicopters?
Yeah, I'm trying to look up this guy.
Yeah, I've got the article pulled up here. So the recently discovered city known as Angamuco
Yeah.
was more than double the size of Tsintzunsan. Although probably not as densely populated. How do you know that? 26 square kilometers of ground that was covered by a lava flow thousands of years ago. You know what? I bet there's another city under that lava because they always build in the same spot.
Okay, so this guy Fisher is an archaeologist at Colorado State University who's presenting the latest findings from the study at the conference of the American Association for the Advancement of Science in Austin, Texas.
All right.
Yeah, right up the street. So yeah, I guess he's an American archaeologist, but it's all I know is that it seems like the culture of the archaeological community down there and the research going on down there is just a lot more. They're doing science.
Yeah.
They're not doing politicking.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? Like.
So props to anyone involved in all of those projects down there. Fucking love it.
That's
Keep
right.
it coming. So excited.
Yeah.
Hell
Keep
yeah.
Using lasers with helicopters.
Yeah, please keep using lasers with helicopters.
I mean, how cool is that? Like, that's, in my opinion, if you're using a laser, you're doing science.
Yeah.
Basically. You can't, if you're pointing a laser at stuff and you're measuring things, that's fucking science.
Yeah, that's science.
To a T. Yeah. So if you're going up there and you're using a laser in a helicopter to find ancient pyramids and ancient mysteries, that's fucking rock and roll.
awesome.
Yeah. That's right. Sex, drugs, and rockets. Yeah. What was the other thing? Okay, so I was reading about this guy who is he's originally from Boston, I think, and he went down to Peru, okay, and he spent most of his life down there, and he basically just goes on these enormous expeditions.
Asshole.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I need to get a hold of this guy and see if we can get him on the show.
I hate that guy already.
Like he'll find these old roads, like the one what were you talking about in Belize? There was a road or something that was kind of like
I was in
where was it?
Costa Maya or Cozumel.
Cozumel.
One of those two. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was Cozumel.
And it was a platform road, right? Like it was raised up.
Yeah, for sure. Big, massive stones raised up, perfectly straight, off into the jungle.
Right, but and you were following it, but eventually, like you came to this
just
wall of
solid
foliage.
wall of jungle, and then
that was the extent of where they had cleared it.
Yeah, you'd seen even at the end of the road there were like clean, fresh cuts on the jungle where the crew they're cutting the jungle back, trying to find the extent. I mean, dude, you need lasers, man.
Yeah, you gotta have lasers.
I would love to see the LiDAR of that thing because, dude, I was looking at stuff on Google Earth, but you can't really tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
But I'm wondering if there's some bigger
they
pattern.
have to go somewhere.
Yeah, they gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, but they weren't
really roads.
Yeah, you were also saying they weren't really roads, right? Because they have big structures in the middle of them.
Yeah, they were like little towers in the middle of it. So it looked more like it was like the
top of a
cylindrical
wall
thing or something,
or
it could have been the top of a wall. Yeah, because you could walk around the little structures in the middle, but no vehicle.
Yeah.
And they took up quite a bit of the space that would have been otherwise a road.
If you look at the Great Wall of China, that's what it looks like. It looks like a road that has random towers in the middle of it that has enough room for you to walk around.
Yeah, that'd be the shit if it was the Great Wall of Mexico. And they don't want to build a wall.
Yeah.
You've already built one. You already paid for that one. Just a joke, fun joke. Come on.
You already built the wall. So this guy that I was reading about, he's down in Peru, right? So he finds these old roads that they call them the Inca stone roads. Okay, now probably the Incas didn't make them because they're really old, you know. Now it's possible that some of them were made by the Inca, but they go through the mountains and they just go for miles and miles, and like they haven't been explored. He doesn't know it's at the end of them, so he does his expeditions where they basically get on this road, and they just fucking go into the. Now since it's Peru, they're going into the high Andes, so it's like they call it the cloud forest. So it's the upper part of the Amazon where like the mountains are up here, and they starts to come down into the basin, but you basically descend into the clouds and it becomes jungle, but you're also in the clouds coming off the mountains. Yeah. And it's like one of the most dangerous parts of the jungle because you can't see anything, and you know, there's like crazy predators there or whatever. But anyway, he does these expeditions and he says that like everywhere they go, it doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't matter how dense the jungle is or how far out there they are passing structures or remnants of structures all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Like he's like through everywhere he's been in that jungle in the Amazon, and he's been in all these expeditions. He's like, you're constantly passing blocks of stone, you know.
So like today we use concrete and all this kind of shit, but like who's to say that we could have developed a totally different style of building and a totally different. I mean, look at the Roman shit. Like the Romans had a very distinct style of building, and then of course you can tell where they sort of picked up things along the way.
Right, they picked up stuff from the Greeks, and
yeah. But like our style of building today is totally different than theirs.
Yeah,
except that you can see that we've gotten some stuff from them. Right, and we have some areas like in Washington.
Yeah, like monumental buildings will do classical Greek structure. Yeah,
but we have our own style. So like when our ruins are found thousands of years later, they're gonna all be the same. You know, the archaeologists be going, oh, look at this platform. This is where they put their huts. They put their little tents on top of this. And it's like, no, that's the fucking basement of a massive skyscraper.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Right. Well, and I think the Romans' concrete was exceptional. It was extraordinary because and it's not really clear why, but they think it's because they were putting volcanic ash in it.
I'm just saying that we could have developed a totally different style where we're like, hey, look, we're going to build out of limestone, right?
Yeah.
And we just, like, that's what we do. We don't use concrete for, like, whatever. Our transportation costs were different.
Yeah.
Cheaper. Technology had developed in such a way that the mining of limestone was just, that's what we did. It's
I totally understand
cheap
what you're
and
saying.
fucking readily available, and so we've shipped it everywhere.
Right.
And we build everything out of it.
Right. And even though, like our preferred method of building is like concrete and steel, if for some reason the structure has it built into its purpose has requirements for other materials, we will get them at whatever expense, right? That's what I always think of. Like we build the structures using what materials they need to have to do what they're supposed to do.
But there's also you got to consider the economic cost, the economic situation. So like when steel is readily available at cheap prices, you're building out of fucking steel, man.
Right, but if you need a part of the building to not be steel for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. So that the function of the building will also have a big part in what you build
absolutely.
It out of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like there are some specialized buildings like underground labs that can't use concrete or steel because of the corrosive, whatever.
So they use lead.
We built this lab out of lead.
Man, I'd like to scrap that lab. So I don't know. I'm just thinking that they're finding all these structures everywhere, and the idea is that
and they're basically finding foundations, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea is that like, they put their little huts on top of these foundations.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Anyway,
those are clearly covered in pyramids.
Yeah. So this new place that they found in Mexico, like the border of it, I think it was something like 34. Shit.
Yeah, it's 34 square kilometers or whatever.
I'm sorry, Brett. I didn't have your.
Oh yeah, Brett's been talking to us this whole time, and we've totally been ignoring him. Hey man, wow! Look at all that data.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it was like 34 square kilometers, approximately 35 square kilometers, whatever that they scanned in western Mexico, near Tzintzuntzan, and the pyramids that I guess were already known border the city.
Oh,
so it's like, the idea that these pyramids are tombs or whatever,
right? Or they're central temples,
right? Is like,
nah.
Okay, why are the and they're admitting that in the story. They're like, that's kind of strange. Like the pyramids kind of go all around it. But this reminded me, like what you were talking about a minute ago, reminded me of my experience with this little site, and I think we talked about this in a previous podcast. But there was the main building when you go up to the site in Cozumel,
okay,
that had all the handprints on it. Remember we talked about this, right?
Yeah,
and they're like, this is like the big building,
right? And you were
the big
like,
foundation or whatever, and they had rebuilt the little thatch roof over it.
Yeah,
and then it's like these roads were like coming from this place and going elsewhere, and I was looking at like, so you go into the middle of the jungle and you find a structure that has roads going to it, and you're thinking, like this, because it's the biggest structure around that you found so far. They kind of were like, this was this big place, right?
Yeah.
This was the central place, and then on one of the walls in there that they had covered with a roof to protect it, there were all the handprints, the red ochre paint or whatever it was, handprints all over it, and they were treating it as though like these people were the ones who built this.
Oh yeah, yes.
So now,
have you ever seen graffiti
with this LiDAR shit coming out? I'm thinking, okay, so if they were to scan the place with LiDAR, they'd probably find out that there's just shit everywhere.
Right. The whole island.
And they just happened to find this one big structure, and they thought this is the center, and these roads are kind of just going off, and this is the road of worship, march.
Yeah, this is the road of rituals.
And the people that made the handprints built it all, and it's just,
the road to the north. Where does it go? North. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just not like that. I understand the desire to make a story out of what you're finding, and like we do this. I do this, like finding arrowheads. It's like I look it up and see that, they're like, oh, this is a Middle Archaic or whatever, and it was probably being used by these people.
Yeah.
And so when you're on a level digging or something, and then you find something a little deeper, and you're like, oh, okay, this is an older point. And
this is early Archaic.
Yeah, and so you kind of want to make a story up while you're finding these artifacts, and I understand that. But it's like,
but I would say that like when we're making up stories with the artifacts we find, we're clearly aware that they're speculation, they're pure conjecture. Like these guys, because they have like Jeremy said, they have academic authority. They're laying it down as the story. Like this is what happened, and then all the guides that are taking you around to these sites are telling you this story that's been like handed down from on high, that the people who put these ochre handprints on this like, advanced wall structure are the people who built this advanced wall structure and all the roads. And this is the main, and they don't know any of that stuff. And it's like, are they not cognizant of the fact that they're speculating? Not the guides, but the archaeologists, these authorities.
Yeah. So one of our good friends, Nick, who's a teacher, we talk about this kind of stuff a lot, and he's always of the mind that like, like this is the scientific method, and it's slow, but we come up with these things, and like these people know that they don't really know, but they've got the best thing, and they talk about it, and I have to agree to a certain extent that like a lot of this stuff, like these stories that we're reading, they're journalists.
Yeah.
And the journalists are not the exact scientists, and they're quoting the scientists, but not giving you the scientific paper.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, it's we're trying to find out what the scientists say they think is going on, and then we're like, okay, guys, check it out. It's like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I have read some of their papers, and they still are kind of,
Yeah, there's no doubt. No doubt. But
the Romans did this.
But that's another reason why I'm like trying to give both sides of the coin here, because this dude from the University of Colorado or whatever is just like, rewrite the books, and we'll rewrite them again in 2 years. That's a great freaking attitude.
Exactly,
man.
Because it's like that's the correct attitude.
We've got to write textbooks right now.
Yeah,
of what we think we know, and then 2 years from now. But we're going to let you know that 2 years from now we're going to rewrite them.
Right. That's right.
And that's great.
And that should be the overall attitude of science. Like really, like Feynman said, science is the belief in the ignorance of experts, right? In other words, you're doing science because we don't fucking know anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much shit you find out with science, we still don't fucking know anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but these, like Ivan T. Sanderson was talking about, like he thought the point of science was that we know almost nothing, but he goes to academia and all these, you know, pompous like stuffed shirts think they know everything.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not talking about these archaeologists in this particular story or whatever. I'm just saying like that thing you brought up with the handprints and how they're like, yeah, these guys are the ones that built it. I'm like, but you know, and Graham Hancock talks about this too, how they'll go and they'll look for a piece of organic stuff that they could find.
Right, and they did this with this thing. It was like, it's probably 900 AD or whatever. And
right, and to me and to a lot of people, that this is being said more and more. I see now people are saying that whatever you date, the dating stuff that they get from these, like the organics that they get from stone sites, right? So there's a stone structure and they go get some organic thing and they date it. Like they did in Nam Maydal. Okay, Nam Maydal is in the Pacific. And it's this enormous, like Lincoln log style, built out of basalt columns right in the ocean. And it's like, it's made of like 150 to 200 million tons of basalt coming from some unknown place. They probably completely dismantled a mountain to build this thing, right? They make like over 100 islands in the water and everything. And like these guys go and they find an old campfire where somebody roasted a turtle in some ritual fashion, and they date that, and they're like, okay, so it was like, you know, 12.
I thought we weren't going to talk about turtles yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting there yet. I'm just saying that these guys cooked a turtle. It's completely disconnected, maybe.
Okay, so we've got a few more minutes here. I wanted to throw this out there about like a couple weekends ago for my birthday. We went to a ranch in parts unknown, secret parts of Texas, and went looking for arrowheads. And I find one, and I'm just like sitting here observing it and looking at it, and I really started thinking in a way that I've kind of gone down this train of thought before, but it really got me asking questions like, how did this practice become a thing, right? If it was, and I guess I was not. There were two parts to the thought. Like, surely, originally, before we ever had any advanced technology or advanced culture, humans, somebody had to figure out how to make badass shit, right?
Right.
To slowly figure it out.
Yeah.
But the level of skill that it takes to, and practice that it takes to be able to make the points and the projectile points that they made out of flint, and the knowledge of the stone itself and where to find it and all that kind of stuff. Like I started thinking like, well, I can imagine if you're, wearing a butt flap or whatever, and you're walking around, or even pre-butt flap, and you find a sharp rock. This is what I was trying to get to. It's like, how did they get to this point? Because my first thought was this even these arrowheads like seem to be it seems more likely to me that this was from like a knowledge that was done by or a skill that was developed by people who knew about better shit.
Right. In other words, it was like a cataclysmic, like, okay, we've had a high society, now we've been destroyed, we know a bunch of shit, and like here's how we're gonna make tools.
Right. Because I would think the same thing. Like, okay, I know like that I could make something like this because I've seen it done.
Yeah.
But then I realized, but at some point we had to figure out how to make the arrowheads before any previously more badass civilization.
Maybe there were unifacials. The really old, like they find these really, really old, hundreds of thousands of year old unifacial. And
I actually found a unifacial there that's really nice.
Yeah, now there are some unifacials that are not arrowheads, that are tools that were made by more modern people because they just needed they just needed a knife or whatever. It doesn't have to be all napped badass. So you can make a unifacial for scraping or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are really old ones that kind of stayed the same, or it looks like at the current level of knowledge that we have, the current amount of data and facts the stuff that people have found indicates that like there was a kind of a tool set of very crude unifacial stone tools that was developed very early on that didn't change for a long time.
Yeah.
There was just everybody used the same thing,
Yeah.
And there was no innovation. But then about 40,000 years ago, suddenly there was innovation all over the world. Like suddenly people started inventing and like sort of now they weren't making Clovis points, right? They were like, what if I do the other side too? Like, and suddenly they have a bifacial. It's still really crude, but it's better, right? They start to innovate all over the world. And this coincides with the advent of cave painting.
Yeah.
So it's like they invented art and inventing at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't really know how to describe, I guess, what I'm thinking.
You're trying to get something else.
Well, it was just like looking at this point and seeing how the precision required to do it. The what's the word? The symmetry of the piece.
Yeah.
And the idea that like that's going to have an effect on its flight and all of this kind of stuff. This takes this. The more I thought about it, I was just like, God, how do they figure this out?
Yeah.
You know? Because like trying to remove all of the knowledge that we have today already, just to think back, like who would pick up this stone and start fucking with it in this way, thinking like and then that would have to be carried on. You know, if you didn't figure it out in one lifetime, or the idea that it's like this slow development or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just I don't know. I guess I don't really know
I think
where
I see
I'm
what you're
going.
saying. Like if you had one of those little basalt like like a airplane glider, it's made out of the light wood.
Yeah.
And the wing structure and the way it's built, right? And you just you could throw it and it'll just glide real smoothly or whatever.
Yeah.
Now the reason we can build those is because we have all this engineering and technology with real planes that show you exactly how to make the curve of that wing. And so like when you look at if you were looking at this as an artifact, you'd be like, man, look how it's very precise the way this wing is shaped from, the profile and everything like that. And we know all that because we have actual technology. Or you could maybe go with the bows themselves. Like, you got a compound bow with all these fucking pulleys on it, and then the way that there's all this shit that they add to it, and the way the string is wrapped and everything. And then, of course, the arrows and the fletching. And so if you're thinking about that in a situation where you have to make that thing out of whatever's lying around in the forest, you'll understand that like precision will make this thing fly right. Because you've got the so I see what you're talking about.
And I guess the other part of it is that they're everywhere. They're not just like it's not like we just find these tools that are made with this specific workmanship in one part of the world. They're all over the world,
right,
on every continent.
Yeah, I was trying to bring that up that same day when we were out there. I was like, doesn't it kind of seem like there are a lot of these? Like they're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, but it would be one thing if you go to one site like in Texas where we were in that area, and then you're imagining like, well, okay, they were here for however many thousands of years, and they were nomadic and they moved around, and so you might find them around this area,
right?
But
they're all over the world.
To find them in Africa too, to find them in Europe, to find them everywhere,
right?
And they have the same. It's like the same. I'm saying workmanship, but it's the same style or skill set.
Yeah.
It's the same engineering ideas that are involved in the whole thing. And it's like, it's almost like the pyramid,
right.
The pyramids everywhere excuse.
Right.
Like, it's just the easiest thing to build.
Yeah.
Try making an arrowhead.
Yeah,
it's not fucking easy.
Try building a pyramid.
But it's the same idea. It's like, well, that was like the easiest thing to do is find a really sharp rock and make this badass piece of art.
Right. Go get deer antlers and fucking, and then start napping.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like if you were to remove all the knowledge that we have, that you would just come up with that because that's easy.
Yeah.
Because I thought here was the other thought. What I would think is to get a stick and sharpen it. You know, by grinding the end of the stick on a rock or something.
Spear. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can stab something.
Stuff. That's right.
And then the tip's going to bend and break. So you, of course, are going to look for better and stronger sticks every time.
Yeah.
And you'll get better and better at making your sharpened tip. But the idea to take this stone that's brittle and to fit it onto the end of the stick seemed to me like that's a lot of work to do when you throw it once and it breaks.
Right.
But it's like they weren't thinking like, well, I need to pierce the skin of this animal, get through the hide and like get to the heart. So I need to find something way sharper than this stick.
Right.
That's the kind of thinking that's required, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're like, so they have this concept of like much, much sharper, much stronger. And like they're looking at this rock and they're seeing how that it could break and have this sharp edge. And it's like, well, I can keep working this edge and get it really aerodynamic so that it flies straight and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that.
Well, one of them was probably sharpening his stick with a piece of obsidian, right? He's like, yeah, I'm making this stick really fucking sharp. And then he cuts his fucking finger with the obsidian. He's like, wait, this is really fucking sharp.
Or it was somebody else, like his buddy.
Yeah.
He's like lazy.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. And the dude's like, what are you doing, man? I'm trying to make this stick sharper. It's like, why don't you just use a fucking rock, bro?
Yeah, the rock that you're using to sharpen that stick, it seems really sharp
And stronger than the stick.
Yeah. Like you maybe could mount it on the end of the stick and swing it or something.
That's the kind of shit I was thinking about. Like how to, and then to look at the point that I found, and maybe I'll post a picture of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this is so badass. Like,
Yeah.
so freaking thin and so well made. And it's just like, and then of course, in the world of arrowheads, it's not. It's like mediocre.
Right.
Not really that badass.
Right, because there are ones
Not
that
really
are just
well made. Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah, that are just a wonder to behold.
There, I have friends that would look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good, man." And you're like, "Damn it, this is freaking awesome!"
No, that's all right.
It's like, yeah, I just found one that's worth like 10 grand.
Yeah, we were with somebody that day. Like while we're digging, he's showing us pictures. Like, look at what my friend's finding right now, and he's like showing us all this badass shit.
Yeah.
And we're like, thanks, bro.
I was like, dude, like, fuck you, fuck him.
Yeah.
Don't show me that shit.
This thing that I found is awesome. GTFO.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be back to not talk about turtles.
Meow. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, brothers of the Serpent podcast. Hailing from the 10 by 10 by 10 tangent cube of science. That is what we do here. Fucking hard science. Hardcore
armchair science.
Test tubes and chemicals all about. Okay, so breaking news. I just
Breaking
saw
news.
Thank you, Russ. I'll take it from here. So I just saw this story. This is from the Daily Mail. This is about 13 hours ago. Sacred Mayan relics are found alongside ancient human remains and Ice Age animal bones in an underwater cave described as the world's most important submerged archaeological site in eastern Mexico.
Whoa. Ice Age animal bones.
Okay, so there's this huge flooded cave in eastern Mexico. It's near Tulum. Okay, and there's all these sinkholes around, right? Mm-hmm. And the sinkholes all connect to it, and it's kind of like an aquifer. It's flooded.
Yeah, okay.
They're saying this thing was flooded. Anyway, there were two different cave systems known about, and these divers just connected them. They're now connected together. So they've always been, but
You mean they found the tunnel that connects them?
they found
Okay.
they found these tunnels that connect them together, and so now it is the world's largest underwater cave system.
Wow.
Known. So they found 9,000-year-old human remains, as well as the bones of animals who roamed the earth during the last ice age. Experts believe water levels in the caves fluctuated throughout their history and that they were used to quench thirst of animals and people in the region during the times of severe drought. Really?
Are you serious?
Somewhere where it was saying that it's like 300 and... Okay, let's see. Sac Octoon Cave System in the Mexican state of Quintana Roo, the largest flooded cave system in the world with 248 underwater pools connected by 215 miles of tunnels.
Wow.
They've been exploring the artifacts left in the caves over the millennia and in a project sponsored by Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History. They found 200 archaeological sites in the cave system, and it's near the beach resort of Tulum, like the pyramid that's on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is great because they're finding these. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Water levels in the region rose 330 feet at the end of the Ice Age, flooding the cave system and leading to, quote, ideal conditions for the preservation of the remains of extinct megafauna from the Pleistocene. I think they found some giant sloths. Let me see if I can find it here. The big cave bear.
Yeah, the short-faced cave bear.
Yeah, I don't want to read the whole story, but it's pretty long.
Now, are the human remains associated with those?
This is what I'm saying. Like there's all these Mayan artifacts down in the cave too.
Oh shit!
Statues. There's an altar. There's all this stuff that's down there. The relics include a shrine to the Mayan god of war and commerce with a staircase accessed through a sinkhole in the middle of the jungle, going down into the water. Right. Let's see. Many of the hundreds of sinkholes that connect to the cave have elaborate signs of ritual activity around them. The ancient Mayas viewed caves, and especially ones that led to water, as extremely sacred places.
Yeah, doors to the underworld.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they're talking about all these things that are found down in the water next to the bones of like extinct animals from the end of the last ice age, and then there's some human remains of 9,000 years old.
Right.
But they're like, but the Mayans were obviously like in 900 AD.
Yeah.
So what were this stuff doing at the bottom of this fucking cave with these other, to me, it's like if the water rose 330 feet after the end of the last
12,000 years ago, Mayans weren't building those stairs in the water.
That's what I'm saying, dude. What is all their shit doing down into the fucking water?
Well, they dropped that staircase by accident.
Right. They dropped that altar that they built under there.
Yeah, they're like, damn it, I dropped the altar. Well, we might as well drop the staircase too then.
So this is really badass, dude. Lots of great stuff going on in Mexico, folks.
Yeah, so how long do you think that'll take? How long do you think it'll take them to realize that logical fallacy? They're like, oh, these Mayan artifacts.
Time? How long?
He was a Chinaman, right?
Yeah.
How long? I mean, you read the story and you're like, okay, wait. The water level rose at the end of the Ice Age. There's staircases and altars under the water that belong to the Mayans that are from 9,000.
Look, you're definitely like all stories get fucked up, right? It just depends on how long it takes you to figure it out.
How long is this story going to take?
But yeah, this is really badass.
It's amazing that glaring error is like directly in the article. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So this has got great pictures too. The UK Daily Mail. I just looked up
the Daily Fail.
Yeah, I just looked up large cave, ancient Ice Age bones in Mexico, and it came up. So I had seen a shorter story that didn't have nearly as much information on the Drudge just now. But yeah, so
it kind of reminds me of an article I read a couple of years ago about this cave art that they found in a similar cave. It's like so they're talking about how to get there to where the cave art is. They dive in this river. They dive in this river and they swim down in the river and they go into a tunnel, like an opening in the rock wall down underneath. Down under the water of the river. They go swim and they come up somewhere in the cave and then they've got to walk over land part of the cave, and then they dive again into another pool and they swim, and then they come up and there's like this beautiful cave art, and they're talking about how it's so ancient and it's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what primitive man dove and swam through that tunnel with no way of knowing where the fuck he was going, no way of being able to breathe, and then came out in the fucking pitch black.
Can't carry a torch underwater.
Then he comes out in the pitch black and starts wandering blindly in the cave.
And then finds
another pool of water and is like, I'll dive in this one too. And just jumps in without knowing anything because he can't see shit, swims through that one and comes up somewhere, and then he paints this beautiful artwork.
Right, yeah.
In the dark.
He paints.
Yeah.
Where did he get the paint? Over there. And how did he know that it was paint in the dark?
Yeah. How do you even know what you're doing? Why aren't you dead?
So yeah, there's wall etchings in this cave.
Right.
Underwater.
Yeah. These guys haven't worked this out yet.
Yeah, this doesn't make. I mean, it's great. You know.
It's badass.
They're like, yeah, this ancient Pleistocene animals along with a 9,000-year-old human skull, and then this like Mayan stuff that's like 900 years old,
right?
Or 900 AD.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, look at these etchings.
It's crazy, but yeah, there's some great pictures. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Look at those bones on the freaking. That's freaking awesome, man.
Oh man. Yeah. For hundreds of years, the Mayans dominated
underwater burial site.
Right.
Okay. Listen, go dig a hole at the bottom of that cave pool.
It's 300 feet underwater. I know. Go dig. Go down there and dig. I'll give you some stairs.
This is badass. It's gotta hit him, dude. It's gotta hit him at some point.
Yeah,
like pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like there's all the extensive stuff being found on top of the ground, plus all of this underwater, under a cave, underground. Yeah, it's gotta.
One of them's gonna be like,
something's gonna break here.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
That's awesome.
Okay,
okay, so they found. Let's see. A total of 198 objects were found in the cave systems, including walls, altars, and a Mayan burial site with human remains. Of these, 138 are believed to be from the post-classic Mayan period, 900 to 1200 AD, and the 60 remaining objects seem to be from a pre-ceramic area of 10,000 to 4000 BC. The relics include a shrine to the Mayan god of war and commerce, with a staircase accessed through a sinkhole in the middle of the jungle. That's awesome. That's great.
And so the ancient the artifacts that they're saying are really old. It's pre-ceramic. Like they didn't even have potsherds.
Right. No potsherds there. It's great.
Oh man.
The experts also believe that the evidence shows that the Mayans made use of the existing spaces with religious significance for their ancestors.
How? I mean, yeah, I agree that they were making use of it on the surface, right, where the sinkholes are.
Right.
Are they thinking they just threw all these things down? Because I know that there's that they throw like objects in this to note this the sinkholes.
Dude, look at this look at that. That's like built over top of one of the sinkholes.
Yeah. Yeah. So they knew
this is badass. Like it reminds me of the stuff we were looking at in Vermont.
Yeah.
Right? Like those.
Yeah. So the Mayans came and found that staircase going down into the water with the altar at the bottom of it, and they're like venerating it. They build their structure around it. That's what I think. I think they worship these sites of the ancients.
Yeah.
And the fucking logheads.
But it's great because, dude, Tulum, there's that fucking pyramid that's on it's like falling into the ocean, right? Or not?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, okay, so the pyramid is also attributed to the Mayans, which is like 900 to something, right? But the ocean's there.
Yeah.
No, they didn't build it on the bank of the ocean. They didn't.
Right.
I promise that didn't happen.
Don't worry, guys. This will be fine. Is it some castles made of sand?
So, yeah.
Fall in the sea. Eventually. No. That's bullshit. This won't fall in the sea.
But yeah, that's freaking awesome, dude. There's the pyramid right there, and then there's this massive underwater cave system that should have been. That's after the water rose 300 feet.
Yeah,
there's all this stuff. So it's like, okay, piecing it together. The alternative way is that pyramid was built when the ocean was far away.
Right.
So you should be able to go out into the ocean a long ways and find with, maybe some other type of LiDAR.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works through oceans, but
we need
hopefully
seawater lasers.
Yeah. Ocean lasers with a heliboat.
Yeah. A hydroplane. But so you could find out where the water level was, when it was 370 feet down or whatever.
Yeah. 300. Yeah.
Yeah. It's roughly 400 feet globally. But yeah, so you could go out there and figure out, and Graham Hancock was doing this in his book Underworld. He would figure out where the water level was, and then they would go and try to dive in these areas. And they found all kinds of shit.
Man, all these guys like Graham Hancock and Buval and all these dudes are going to be looking at. They're all reading this stuff like, holy shit! Like, let's go to Mexico. Come on.
Yeah. Or they're reading it. They're just laughing.
Well, I'm thinking like, this is. Come on, Graham.
Yeah.
Like
this is your shit, man.
Yeah. Start a new book, bro.
Hell yeah. That's my shit. That's my shit. Yeah. Well, I mean, what would be really cool is if the cognitive dissonance just gets too great, and then one of these days, one of these experts goes, hold on a second, and then they realize that this stuff must be ancient.
Yeah,
that pyramid and these stairways and this altar and all that shit were found by the Mayans.
I feel bad for whatever guy like publishes a paper that finally realizes that, because the comments they're just gonna be like, yeah, bro, haven't you read like Magicians?
Yeah, haven't you read Fingerprints of the All right, Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, there's a other thing in the news this week. There's a quake swarm happening at Yellowstone again.
Quake swarm. This is like a It's like a video game thing, right? No.
Yeah. So, is the Yellowstone supervolcano close to erupting? Scientists detect more than 200 earthquakes in just 10 days.
But no.
After a warning that magma below the surface is showing signs of strain. And then. Yeah, so you read a couple of paragraphs and then but for now scientists say there's no reason to worry. Like literally that's a quote. This is also from the Daily Mail. While the earthquakes are likely caused by a combination of processes beneath the surface,
no shit.
They're definitely not caused by meteors, because those aren't earthquakes. Exploding in the sky. Those are obviously not.
Sky.
But the current activity is said to be relatively weak, and the alert level at the supervolcano remains at normal. But I think there was something like 2 point something mag. None of them could be felt physically by people, but they're being picked up. So last year around this same time, there was a
huge quake swarm.
Yeah, and then I think there was something like 1,500 quakes. Let's see.
And they call these quake swarms, like, because the Yellowstone magma chamber is enormous. It basically is. It extends the entirety of the Yellowstone Park. It's humongous underground, and it's way down there. And like so, when it becomes under stress, it'll have waves of little microquakes that go across its structure. As the magma shifts or whatever. So.
Okay, here it is. According to the USGS, the new swarm is occurring in about the same location as the Maple Creek swarm last summer, which brought roughly 2,400 earthquakes in a 4-month span.
But they're all like 2.4, 2.7, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the biggest one last year was. Let's see. The University of Utah seismograph stations picked up the first quakes just over a week ago, counting more than 200 as of February 18th. But the experts say there are likely to be many more there are likely to have been many more that have gone undetected. The present swarm started on February 8th with a few events occurring per day. On February 15th, seismic activity rates and magnitudes increased markedly. As of the night of February 18th, the largest quake in the swarm is a M2.9, and none of the events have been felt. All are occurring about 5 miles beneath the surface, 8 kilometers for those of you using the dumb system. Yellowstone is home to several faults and has a long history of seismic activity. As natural processes occurred beneath the surface and stress effects from the past events continue to maintain their hold, the area remains a hotbed of seismic activity and swarm activity, according to USGS. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that it's like near the same area,
near the
close at the same time during the year, and it's like boom, it's starting to act up, and they're detecting, I guess, in some way this increased pressure in that magma lake or whatever.
Yeah, the magma chamber. Yeah, that implies injection. Okay, like with any normal volcano, if you get a microquake swarm from the volcano, from the area beneath it, basically it's like, okay, that's about to erupt. Like that's a sign that the thing is getting ready to erupt because the magma chamber is getting an injection of fresh magma from deep below, and that's making the whole thing readjust all the pressures and everything. And that means that, you know, it's very likely that it's about to blow because it's it's going to find its way through some plug that it couldn't push through before because it didn't have enough pressure. But with Yellowstone, they're always like, don't worry, this is not going to happen. You know, the alert level is still 0. And I'm just like, but you guys...
Normal, yeah.
Yeah, you guys don't know what...
Right. So it says that they describe it like this. Swarms reflect changes in stress along small faults beneath the surface and generally are caused by 2 processes: large-scale tectonic forces and pressure changes beneath the surface due to accumulation and or withdrawal of fluids, magma, water, and or gas.
Yeah.
Now, there's a second part to this story, which is hilarious and great. So NASA is like, all right, look, guys, we look at space, so we're gonna figure out how to deal with this shit underground. NASA believes drilling up to 6 miles down into the supervolcano beneath the Yellowstone National Park to pump in water at high pressure could cool it. Despite the fact that the mission would cost $3.46 billion, NASA considers it the most viable solution. Using the heat as a resource also poses an opportunity to pay for the plan. It could be used to create a geothermal plant which generates electric power at extremely competitive prices.
Yeah.
This method of subduing a supervolcano has the potential to backfire and trigger the supervolcanic eruption NASA is trying to prevent.
Yeah.
So the scientist is like, yeah, drilling into the supervolcano would be very risky. However, carefully drilling from the lower sides could work. But anyway,
it's very risky.
It's great. And then they say, besides the potential devastating risks, the plan to cool Yellowstone with drilling is not simple. Doing so would be an excruciatingly slow process this is really written bad.
What is it? Oh.
It says that would happen at the rate of 1 meter a year, meaning it would take tens of thousands of years to cool it completely.
Yeah, why do they want to cool it? Like
to keep it from exploding.
Well, you just want to release the pressure, you know, right? No? Doesn't that seem easier?
They were just talking about cooling the whole thing off. Like,
Yeah, that'll take a long time. Long time.
And it won't be smooth.
Right. It won't be smooth because they'll be doing it wrong.
Anyway, I'm not. The story to me is like I was just looking at the interesting idea that like these swarms are happening around the same period and around the same place at the same time of year.
Yeah, so you could.
I don't know what that means, but
well, you could. I guess the time of year makes me think of like the Earth's orbit around the sun, right?
Right.
Obviously,
yeah.
So
The
like,
way it's
there's something about the positioning of the Earth right now with respect to the solar gravity,
right.
Something like that.
Yeah. I was thinking something similar to that. Like it's putting pressure on it.
Stresses on the like the chamber itself is going to be complex. It's enormous, you know. That lake is
the estimates of like the frequency of the thing exploding.
Yeah,
and we're like way overdue.
Right.
It's
it's been happening. It happened every 800,000 years for like 20 million years, and it hasn't happened in 8 million years. Shit.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Not that.
I think it was like 600,000 years.
Yeah, 600,000 years or what? It was every 600,000 years, like clockwork, almost since the first time though. And I think that thing is responsible for the enormous basalt, like layers. There's huge sections of the United States that have like 40 feet of basalt covering
columnar basalt.
Yeah, just like so, people dig down, and you eventually, like 200 feet under the ground, you hit this layer of basalt that's 40 feet thick, and basalt is lava.
Is it the column?
The columnar stuff forms when lava hits
the water,
deep water.
Right? Yeah,
right. So it's not. I don't think it's that. It's just this. It's just this enormous basalt plate that covers most of so everything from Washington State down through most of California, all across through Wyoming, and covers like 2/3 of the United States.
Yeah,
that's Yellowstone exploding.
That's insane. I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want that to happen.
Well, we don't have any of the basalt down here, so
okay, cool.
We'll be cool.
Yeah, nuclear winter still sucks.
Yeah, and we have all the dead stuff here from that, probably.
Yeah.
So I was
great time to be in Mexico.
Now we know why that stairs go down to that altar under the water. It's fucking hot when Yellowstone blows up. So I was reading. This is just a quick aside, but I found this very interesting. I recently bought Jacques Vallée's. He published 3 books that consist of all of his journals that he's been writing since the end of World War II. Okay, like he's a young man. He starts out and like he's basically been keeping journals and is like cataloging his interest in UFOs, and of course everything, all this personal shit's in there too. He's getting married, he's having kids, he's trying to find jobs. He gets involved in like social bullshit, like he's trying to come home from buying like ancient rare books about esoteric subjects, and then he gets caught up in this fucking riot in Paris. You know, like all that shit's in his journals. But he moves to the United States and goes to he lives in Chicago for almost 10 years, or 4 years or whatever. He goes back to Paris. He's like, fuck this place. Chicago sucks, right? And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm thinking like, dude, get out of Chicago. Yeah, it sucks there. Go you know. Sorry to any listeners who live in Chicago. We love you guys. But seriously. Chicago sucks. Anyway, he leaves, goes back to Paris, and he's there for 1 year, and he's just like, okay, this is terrible. Like France, it's impossible to do any kind of innovation here. So he goes back to the United States, and I just was reading this last night. He has this entry in there, and he's like, okay, I've just returned from a meeting in New Jersey, Cherry Hill, with RCA.
What?
In 1967. I was like, whoa. He moves and lives in Cherry Hill, New Jersey for at least a year. I haven't read to where he's left yet, but like Jacques Vallée worked for RCA Corporation and lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, at least for a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So our grandfather lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey,
right.
And worked for RCA.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
really weird. Wow.
Wow.
In the 60s. When did he retire?
I don't know.
Grandpa?
I don't know when he retired. But he just retired into consulting.
Yeah, I know, but still. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That's really strange.
And what Jacques Vallée was working on was he was at this point he was a computer programming specialist, okay? That's where he made his money, okay?
Yeah.
He started out as an astronomer and he got a degree in astronomy, but then he went into computer, like as an astronomer in the 50s when computers were first starting to, you know, they had these enormous UNIVAC freaking computers made of tubes and shit. And he starts learning he's like coding things with cards, punch cards and shit.
Yeah.
He's like he's like, okay, well, we can do astronomy with these computers. We can have these computers analyze our data. Anyway, so he gets into the computer programming and he becomes one of the world's leading programmers in database stuff and everything like that. So he's at RCA to help them try to beat IBM in not to build computers. IBM is like building hardware, but RCA wants to like create software and networking. They're like, our specialty is communications, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For IBM, they build their hardware and their engineers are like, hardware, right? Hardware. Well, we're communications. That's what we do here at Radio Corporation of America. So Jacques Vallée goes in there to help them with their hardware.
I was just thinking, it almost sounds like a bark.
Yeah. Look, we're about hardware. Hardware.
Yeah.
So he's helping them with, and RCA gets, they get pulled in by NORAD to help with all the over the horizon radar, with the satellite defense, because they want to be able to keep track of shit in space, partially because of the Black Knight. Anyway, so Jacques Vallée is there at RCA at the same time that
the Black Knight always disappears.
The Black Knight always vanishes. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. I think that was fascinating. And to those of you guys who don't know, that was sort of, we may tell this story one
Inside
day.
baseball.
It's something about inside baseball. It's about our grandfather. We may tell this story one day. It's fascinating. But for now, just know that
it's break time.
It's break time. And Jacques Vallée probably worked with my granddad.
And didn't have anything to do with turtles.
Still no turtles.
Nope.
Inside. All right, we'll be back in a bit, guys. Thanks.
Snake turtles.
Snakes. Longheads. God damn it. Hey, did you know that there were midget Mayans?
Midget Mayans?
Yeah.
No.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Brothers of the Serpent podcast. We are coming to you and not live from the 10 by 10 by 10 Tangent Cube of Science for the second hour. First segment of the second hour. And we were talking about Mexico and Mayans, and we're still going to be talking about that. But this is some other stuff that I was researching this week. And there may be some turtles in here somewhere.
Is it Scrimshaw?
It could be Scrimshaw.
Follow the tower. Follow the beam.
Follow the beam.
Find the tower.
So there is a site, and I can't pronounce the name of the place, but there's a site, and they call it it was built by midget Mayans. Now it wasn't really midgets, okay? It's just that all the structures are exactly the same as Tikal, the nearby Tikal, okay, which is like a really famous.
Tikal is the
one of the ones they've scanned it, right?
That's in Guatemala, though, right? Tikal?
Yeah, it's some Mayan site. I don't know where it is. It's not,
okay.
Yeah, it's Mayan. Maybe not Mexico. It's Mayans. So anyway, there's a site nearby that looks just like it, but everything's small, not tiny. Basically, what it is everything is human-sized. Like, in other words, when you look at the blocks and the things that the altar stones and all that kind of stuff, they look like blocks that people could manage, like a human. Like, you could carry this over here and put it down, right? In other words, the bricks are of a logical size for us to use.
Yeah.
But it's the same exact site. Okay? So
yeah, Tikal is in Guatemala, and it's the place where they had done the 300 square miles of LiDAR that we talked about last week.
Right.
Or the week before that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nearby there's
60,000 structures.
Yeah. So nearby there's this site that they call it, built by the midget Mayans or whatever. Okay. And it's basically the same pyramids, the same altars, the same stelae. Everything is exactly the same. It's an exact copy of the main site, but everything is all the materials are, something that you
living space.
they're all materials that people could carry. We could carry these blocks and build this,
Yeah.
So, so that's really interesting because, for one thing, that sort of implies, like, wait, why is there this exact copy that is made in terms of moving things around, in terms of weight and materials, is human sized, right?
When you say human size, you're saying like
it's a
people can carry it.
Yeah,
No need for block and tackle and hempen ropes and
giants,
copper chisels. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like so there's the stuff at the stele at the main site is 15 feet tall and like weighs tons, right?
Yeah.
And whereas there's one at this site that a couple of dudes could pick up and kind of move over there and put it down, right? But
I gotcha.
Yes. Okay. So, and they talk about midgets, but there weren't any midgets. Well, I mean, there might have been. Nobody knows. But the point is that this is like human sized in terms of building it.
Okay.
Right. Like when we
So they're not actually talking about small people. They're just talking about a small structure compared to the other ones.
Right.
With small blocks.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There weren't actually midgets.
It's only a model.
That's right. It could be a model, but it looks newer too. It's not as old as the other site. But the other interesting thing about it is so one of the things that the archaeologists talk about, they say, well, they were running out of materials. They were running out of stone in the quarry. That's why they made it small, right? That's literally what they say.
They were running out of ocean floor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the quarry that they were using, it was running out of stone. But if you look at the quarry, it's clearly not running out of stone.
Yeah.
And second of all, if that was really happening, where are the enormous blocks that they started with, and then they started to get smaller when they realized they were running out of rock, right? Because that's what would happen. They would be building these giant blocks, and they're we're running out, and they'd start making them smaller and smaller.
That doesn't make any sense because it's still taking up the.
Right. It doesn't make any sense. It's not what happened.
You make smaller and smaller stones, building the structures of the same size, still the same amount of stone.
Yeah.
Smaller blocks.
No, you just have to readjust and like, okay, that block right there is actually the entire foundation of this building, and we're just gonna have to make it real small. I mean, that's what they say. They say that they were building a normal sized. The plan was to build a normal sized Mayan temple structure, and they started to run out of quarry rock, and so they made it tiny. That's the conventional explanation.
Okay. So the pyramid is tiny.
Yeah.
Okay. I was confused again.
Okay, so what am I not? How am I not explaining?
No,
this
I just
properly?
thought you were talking about this block size, and I wasn't realizing,
Oh no.
the entire structure.
Everything, yeah.
But it's human size. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like
It's a strange
imagine,
way of describing.
So
it.
take the original Tikal pyramid.
Yeah, the big
with its
tall
and then shrink everything.
Okay.
All the blocks,
whole pyramid and everything.
You shrink the blocks down to human-sized blocks, and the pyramid itself shrinks as well.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Gotcha.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So, So it's they're
So the throne on top of those pyramids is actually human. Like you can climb up on top of it and sit on
it's
it.
a big human chair. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And the big steps are you can walk up them, right?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Instead of the tiny steps that people have to use on the big ones.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where this story starts. This interesting information about this whole turtle stuff starts. So our good buddy Giorgio Tsoukalos was here. Okay, I'm reading an article.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm reading an article he wrote about it, and he went to see this, and of course he's asking all kinds of questions like, wait a minute, where are the midgets, right? But they go look at the site and everything, and at the end he's coming back and he asks the guide, and this is kind of since it's Tikal is nearby, nobody goes here, right? All the tourists go to the main big site. They don't.
Yeah.
So like the guides here are like totally fucking stoked that Tsoukalos is here with his people.
Yeah.
And they're actually got some tourists, right? And he gives them like a tip or whatever. It's blowing their minds. So they're like, whatever you want, man, right? And he asked them like, so was anything interesting found like when you guys were when the excavations were being done? Was anything interesting or strange or anomalous? Was anything found like that? And they tell him that they found some clay statues, some clay figurines that he should go look at of turtles. And he's like, of what? They're like, there's clay turtles, right? So he doesn't think that sounds very interesting, but he goes to look anyway because they tell him that it's anomalous and they're going to ship them off somewhere because they need to be copied because they want to preserve them and stuff. So he's like, okay, somebody thinks these are important. So he goes to look. And he says that one of the figurines is like a bat or something. And he's like, like a cave bat, and he's not interested in it. But the other one, he looks at it and he's like, wait, that's not a turtle. It looks like an airplane or some kind of flight vehicle.
UFO.
Yeah, it's round, but he describes it basically the fins of the turtle are streamlined and they kind of arc down onto the body, right? So it looks like the people who are making this thing saw something in the sky. This is what Giorgio is saying. They saw something in the sky and they associated it with the turtle because that was the closest animal shape that they knew of. And so to reference this, he starts talking about how he's like, okay, so the Apache Indians, when they were coming up with vocabulary in their language for parts of cars, okay, like when you go look at it, they talk about the bumper, or the right bumper
Fender
or
or
whatever, fender being the shoulder, right? They use body parts, okay? So they associate it with words that they've already got. Okay. So he talks about that, and he's like, he gives that as an example of how this is what a culture that doesn't have technical words in their vocabulary, they have to come up with something to call it, right?
Yeah.
So they'll associate things with animals or body parts or whatever. You got.
And words already in their vocabulary that they already have, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the idea of the turtle. And so okay, so let's see. I've taken a couple of notes here that I need to look at because there's a whole list of these things. Okay, so it's interesting because turtles are associated with gods all over the world.
Yeah.
Oh, did you already know this?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's cool.
I mean, I all over the world. I don't know all the different, but I know that they're associated with gods. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I totally didn't know that. That's cool.
The fucking turtle. Is it Japanese or Chinese thing with the turtle? The big turtle with the world on its back and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. So the turtle. Yeah. So the world turtle.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily all over the world, but
It is the whole world, though. Yeah, I got you. But okay, so in China, they have specific legends where gods are actually flying on turtles or in turtles. Okay, and they've got depictions of this too. Right. So there's the god. He's got his flowing Chinese robes and shit, and he's got his long beard, and he's standing on the back of a turtle that's flying through the sky. Like they draw it that way. Now that seems like, well, anyway. So the Mayans had this too: flying turtles of the gods. Okay, the Native Americans also talked about flying turtles of the gods. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I did know that Native Americans have like they made a lot of like turtle effigies and carvings and stuff like that.
Yeah, so a specific one, East Pomona, the East Pomona tribe, okay, a North American tribe. They have legends of a terrible race that flew in iron turtles that could drill themselves down into the earth.
Whoa.
Now think about remember the legends of Siberia with the cauldrons and shit? Like there's the weird legend of Siberia with the Tunguska event, and the natives there believe that there's something underground there that landed a long time ago and drilled itself down into the earth, and it sits there and waits for things like the Tunguska event where the whole place is going to be destroyed by this thing coming in to hit the earth, and this thing will actually come out and destroy it first, right? Destroy it in the air. Okay, and then there's also the weird news that's been going on for the past, 5 years of these enormous holes just appearing in Siberia. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they're like they're like triangular shaped, or they're spikes. So anyway, the idea of these turtles, iron turtles that can drill themselves down into the earth. How about that? What is it called? The crater out there, the nest of the fire eagle, the one that has the weird shape. It's the kind of the cone sticking up out of the mountain. You know what I'm talking about?
Familiar with it? No.
We've talked about it. You said it looked like a drill. If you were drilled into something, it would leave this sort of ramp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Okay, and it kind of moves. You know what I'm talking about?
Know that. No.
Yeah, it pulses. So basically, what I'm talking about here, people, is in the remote taiga, Siberian mountains, close to I think it's close to the Urals. But anyway, I could put the picture in the show notes. You just see mountainous terrain with thick green like foliage, and then there's this gray cone sticking off the mountainside. Okay, and it's cone shaped, but the top of the cone is truncated, so it's cut off, and it looks like there would be a sort of a bowl shape or a crater in the top of the cone, but there's this bubble shape coming out of the crater part. So it's a bowl with a bubble in it. Okay, think of that. It doesn't have any. It's a bunch of rocks. It looks like a pile. Like the geologist who first saw it thought it was like a pile of mine tailings, but it's too old. Okay, it's at least 500 years old. It doesn't have anything growing on it, and that was bothering people because normally you got a big pile of gravel or whatever, boulders and gravel and shit like that, and eventually dust flies into it, and then seeds get in there, and it starts to grow, and eventually you can't see it because it's covered in green shit. Well, this thing is not. And they found out that the reason it's not is because all of the rocks are in constant, very slow motion. They're being agitated by something.
Yeah, so I remember this. I was talking about how, like, if something bored down in there, it would leave, like, that little bump on the top and the pile around it. Like, when you first start drilling something, it kind of makes this ring.
Yeah, a ramp ring or whatever around the drill.
Right. But if the drill just keeps going and there's, it goes straight down.
It would start to fill the tunnel behind it.
And then behind it, it's going to like bulge up and have this bump.
Right. And so the whole thing is pulsing enough to keep that gravel in motion enough to keep anything from being able to grow there.
Freaking drilling turtles.
So there's clearly an iron turtle down there still drilling.
Yeah, obviously.
That's totally basically what I'm trying to say is there's a turtle down there. Okay. And they call it the nest of the fire eagle.
And the world is on his back.
Right. He's trying to get down there to hold the world up.
Because obviously it's flat.
Right. He just needs to dig down and he'll get to the bottom.
When he gets to the bottom,
and he can hold it up because it's flat. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. In the Indian Vedic text, again, we have gods flying around with turtles. Okay, Vishnu comes down to earth on a turtle to create everything at the very beginning. Let's see. I think there's one or two more. Yeah. Okay. So this is another example of I hate the word primitive, but like, so we have the Native American cultures, okay, and they're looking at us. They're looking at the Europeans, and so we start building trains, right? And what they first called trains was fire horses.
That's odd.
So if you think about that, this is a modern thing that happened that is documented. We built this technological object, and their name for it was fire horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
People rode on it, and it
ran with fire.
By fire.
Right. Didn't look anything like a horse, but that was what they called it because they had, didn't have the vocabulary. Anyway, so taking that concept of like that non-technological cultures will use words associated with biology.
Yeah, and symbolism that's
the
things that they recognize or whatever. Yeah.
So then you look again at these turtles, okay? And the idea that basically shows you a possible picture that all of these Native American cultures, when they're or not Native American, but all these native cultures, when they're talking about gods flying around on turtles, they're talking about actual beings using flying machines all over the planet, and that all these cultures have similar imagery.
Yeah.
So that brings me back to the thing about the Americas being Turtle Island.
Oh yeah, shit. That's
the source of the turtles of the gods, right? Like Turtle Island. This is because I've started to think that that the Americas were the land of the gods a long time ago. This is where they had most of their, they were isolated here from the rest of the entire world or whatever. So if you kind of go with the not out of Africa, but that human hominids were mostly over there in the old world, and they at some point they weren't here yet, right? The gods could have come and got this whole island was here, and it was isolated from us, and they built all their ancient shit. You got Tiwanaku and Rockwall and whatever, all these enormous, completely not understood megalithic structures that are.
So the idea that Atlantis sunk into the sea or whatever, if you think about the catastrophic end of the last ice age that basically flooded all of the Americas,
right,
and rose, the sea level rose everywhere, like this could actually be Atlantis,
right?
Like,
we're in the highlands of Atlantis,
right,
or something like that. Well, and also Atlantis means. Or like the Atlantic, it means the Sea of Atlas.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'm just talking about the idea of this ancient advanced civilization that lived somewhere
that got destroyed,
away from wherever everybody else was over there in in Europe and Africa and shit.
Right. And the story, like Plato says that Solon said that the Egyptians said, right?
Yeah.
that the reason,
freaking hearsay.
Yeah, the reason Atlantis was destroyed was because they became arrogant in their advancement. Basically, they became haughty, and they've ceased. What was the phrase? They ceased to hold their. They ceased to like carry their wealth, their knowledge, their riches, their advancement with humility.
Yeah.
Now, I have problems with these parts of the stories, like with the flood too. You have this thing where the Bible talks about the flood, and it's because of humans, right?
Right.
It's because of
man's evil deeds and
or the iniquities or whatever. Like may have been talking about genetics, right? Because Noah's like the righteous man in all of his generations, but nobody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that like I have this issue with the idea of natural cataclysms being caused by people being assholes. Like,
Yeah. It could be another way, like a sort of a just misinterpreted way of saying that, like, we were full of ourselves and not really paying attention and not using all of our knowledge to the best of our ability to figure out what's really going on around us, like in this idea of cyclical cataclysms.
yeah.
And so we failed
yeah.
to survive, or carry our knowledge through effectively, and
Right.
most of it was lost.
Okay.
right?
Yes. I agree with that interpretation.
And we're doing it now. Like we talk
Yeah.
about global warming, and we're like, pfft,
Yeah.
yes, but
no.
right? And
Yeah.
so what we really need to focus on is let's go to space, because this is going to get destroyed. And,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And like right before the flood,
but
actually,
we're so arrogant that we're like, we're causing it. La, la.
yeah,
It's
and
like,
then they start looking in the totally wrong place. So the
Right.
actual cataclysm will come out of left field. Ha. But yeah, in the Bible it says, what does it say? That people were eating and drinking and getting married,
yeah.
right? Which doesn't, like, I
thought
read
it
all
was
that. I'm like,
being married.
what,
Just
being
kidding.
married?
Yeah, getting married and being married, two totally different things. I'm just joking.
Right. Well, they didn't have time to be married because they got killed in the flood. But I looked at those and I was like, wait, eating, drinking, getting married, those don't sound like sins to me. Like, why is the flood coming? Like, what are they doing wrong? Right. But I think you're right, that what that was pointing to is that they were not paying attention. They were being frivolous.
Yeah.
But what about Atlantis? Like, Plato specifically says that Solon said that the Egyptians said that they became like sort of haughty, that they were like, yeah, we're badass, we deserve to rule the world, and they attacked the ancient Greeks, the ones that lived there before.
Yeah, I don't know.
That they were at war with Athens or something like that. You don't know? Nope.
I mean, I already gave you my sort of the way I analyze that, the idea of us being arrogant and just not.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a possibility. Yeah, what if we had like ridiculously badass weapons and we fucked up, ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that
they cast Ice Comet. That was the problem.
yeah.
Somebody got Ice Comet spell, and they're like, Ice Comet! Oh, fuck!
The deplorable word, right? Someone spoke the deplorable word, and the
Yeah.
entire universe was destroyed. So we must freeze ourselves here until some stupid kids come and wake me up, and then I will rule everything again. I turn everything into ice. Narnia.
Get out of here, Nadia. Somebody went into a wardrobe recently. Yeah, so I don't know. So the idea that Turtle Island, the Americas, that's associated with that they called the ships of the vehicles of the gods turtles. I don't know. I just found that fascinating.
Yeah.
That, like, this is Turtle Island, and then the idea that the turtle holds up the Earth.
Yeah. That's
an
really
imagery.
strange,
It's just saying, like, the Earth is flying through space, right? That's what the turtle does. It's a spaceship, right? So
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a great idea.
get out of here, flat earthers.
So the hare saw this turtle, and he was like, "That looks like a spaceship." Basically, that's what all this started.
I'm not going to race a spaceship, right? That's what the hare would say.
No, I was talking about Giorgio.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the whole. Yeah, Jesus
I was
Christ.
kind of making a pun on that.
The hare
Yeah, the hare, dude.
saw the turtle, and
And he was
was
like,
like-
"That looks like a spaceship."
he got it fast. That's a spaceship.
That's
bro.
why the turtle always wins, dude. It's a fucking spaceship.
That's right. Asking the real questions here, folks.
Yep. All right. Yeah, but I just wanted to like bring it back full circle to Giorgio and this turtle. Like,
Yeah, no, that's
what-
cool. Like Giorgio's article in this book, by the way, which is the what is it? Disinformation Guide to Ancient Aliens, Lost Civilizations, and yada yada yada. It's got a
Yeah.
long title, but anyway, that book, and it's full of a bunch of articles by a bunch of different people, and Giorgio's was in there. It totally surprised me, and he's a good writer. Like his writing style was great. And I read the whole thing, and he's like looking at these turtles. He's like, these are spaceships. You know, clearly this is a spaceship. And actually the guide who was showing him the thing, like he holds it up, and it's like it looks like a turtle, but it's also got all this stuff. And the guy goes, "This was the vehicle that the gods used." Like he clearly says that it's not a turtle.
Okay, that's badass.
Yeah. So that, like even the natives that are there now, they don't think that it's an animal. They know that he actually turns it over and shows Giorgio that you can see a face of a person kind of looking out from a porthole that's on the bottom of the turtle or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's really cool.
And that was in the midget Mayan city.
Yeah, the midget Mayan city. That was another thing. I was like, where did that go?
Well, that's just where these things were found.
Right, I know.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because Giorgio's idea, and after he described it, I was kind of agreeing with him that this was humans trying to copy this big site built by somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Built by the actual dudes that were flying on the turtles.
Right. They weren't gods. They were flesh and blood extraterrestrials.
There's the other, the connection that we were talking about between the Vedic stuff where the Viyamanas were powered by like liquid mercury or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in Central America, they're finding liquid mercury under the pyramids and shit.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings me to something else that I've been meaning to tell you. Like, how much time have we got here? How much time we got in this segment? Let's find out. Can I do this? Oh, yeah.
5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes. We can do this in 5 minutes. Is it really 5 minutes? We don't have any extra time?
Well, it's like
okay,
a 30-minute segment. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway,
it's about 5 minutes.
In the Ivan T. Sanderson books that I just read, he talks about this very fascinating property of mercury. Okay, so he describes it like you get a disc. Okay, you get a disc or a ring, basically that has raised edges, and you put mercury in it, like a droplet of mercury. Okay, and this ring that has raised edges, so the mercury will stay in the ring.
Yeah.
Okay, he says if you start to heat, you apply a flame to the underside of the ring, and you start moving it around, that the mercury will begin to move in the opposite direction of the heat. And it'll actually begin to move faster and faster and faster, even if you keep the heat moving at the same speed.
Okay.
And he actually he describes this, and then he says, and then he actually applies it to the whole Vimana. He's like, this is very interesting because the Vimana things, the Vedic texts talk about like you have this vessel of iron which you fill with mercury, and then you apply an open flame to it, and that was how they flew. Okay. And he actually he initially describes the mercury effect because he was wondering if this happens with other materials too, because he's talking about where like the fact that the hurricanes that come out of the Atlantic near the Bermuda Triangle area or whatever, they're going the wrong way. They move the wrong direction. And he's talking about like heat inversion anyway. It's really complicated, but he says like he's wondering where does the spin force come for these enormous storms? And if you've got heat coming up and it's hitting this material on top, well, that material starts to spin because of this heat. Anyway, it was very interesting, but I did not know that about mercury, that we need to try this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. He described it multiple times, and it's like, and he says it doesn't make any sense that it's doing this. You make the flame go around the ring, and the mercury will go the other way.
That's really weird. No idea.
And then you can fly into space.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And use lasers. So, I mean, something like that, if that had been discovered by, like think of that just this property of mercury, and if it does create lift of some kind, like somehow it makes the mercury becomes lighter, whatever happens that makes it lift, right? So if you attach stuff to that and you make the effect big enough, then the mercury will lift the thing that it's in, and that will pick up everything that's attached to it, right? And you can fly your ship.
Yeah.
And you don't need a lot of really complicated technology to do this, at least not in the beginning. That's a very simple concept. Like you have an iron vessel and an open flame.
Yeah. Why does it create lift? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Isn't there like some shit with like that physicists are doing with the mercury, where they actually do detect like lift from it in some way, or is that? I remember hearing something.
Yeah, I've read something like that a couple of times, and I remember seeing this video. I've got this. I had a video, the old black and white, and it showed a guy, and it was a bunch of scientists. They were in a lab and they're wearing lab coats and shit, and they're standing around this thing, and it's kind of floating up and down, and it's got a glass ball in it that has a bunch of mercury in it, and he's got a flame beneath it, and this thing is like floating up and it's bouncing around in the lab like it's on the moon. It's floating in a really strange anti-gravity way, but I don't know how it creates lift. It's some kind of quantum effect, I guess. I don't know.
But that is like something that's confirmed. That's what I was asking.
I don't know if it's confirmed. I feel like it is, but I bet you that most mainstream people will be like, no, that's not confirmed. It probably is though. And then there's the whole airship thing from, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, the airship stuff that happened in the American Southwest during the 1800s.
I don't know, but we can talk about that next segment.
Yeah, we can.
I think
we can do that.
Yeah, well, right on time. Pretty much.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back for the last segment.
Oh, yeah.
We probably should take a look at all the stuff that Brett's been telling us, because he's been giving us a lot of information.
Sorry, Brett.
Sorry about that, Brett. You're giving us great stuff. All right, we'll be right back. Snakes.
Brothers of the Serpent podcast, in the 10 by 10 by 10 tangent cube of science, talking about turtle snakes, mercury vehicles, and Mexico.
And spinning mercury. Rotating.
So yeah, we were having this conversation during the break. I was like stumped on this whole mercury thing, but Russ was reading the article he was talking about, and the guy's describing. I guess it's like mercury in a round dish.
Yeah.
So it's like the image I have now is not of a bead of mercury on a ring, but just mercury liquid in a dish that's flat and round, and then the source of the heat going underneath it, around in a direction, and all of the mercury inside the dish is spinning in the other direction. And I'm thinking, my first thought when you were first bringing it up was this idea of wicking, which I don't know if that's the proper term, but it's a term that I learned when brazing, that basically uses like a solder, and you braze pipe together or whatever, like copper pipe or whatever. And when you're heating the pipe, and you're putting the little solder rod, the metal that's going to basically melt the two pieces of copper pipe together. Like you heat it, and you put the rod in one area, but it like wicks once it melts, it pulls that molten metal in towards the hotter part of the pipe, like wherever that heat is. So if you're like, the idea is when you're joining two pipes, one has a bell end, and the other piece of pipe sleeves inside that. You want to heat it like down, all the way down inside that sleeve. You want to heat around that area, and you hold the metal out near the edge. And when it melts, when the metal gets hot enough on that edge to melt it, as soon as it melts, it draws it all the way down to the hottest part of the pipe that you're heating. So it was called wicking. And I was just thinking of that, like in terms of liquid metal, like even when you're soldering, it does this. Like when the solder melts, it moves to the hottest part, and I don't know why, but it just does that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question of why does it
Yeah, it's not like water where you heat the water and it's like, get away, get away. And then the metal's just like, oh yeah, let's move over here where it's hot.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about the flame passing around and around under this dish, because it's moving in a certain direction. Whatever's in front of that direction, the heat source is moving towards the metal being heated, or the liquid metal being heated, that's also trying to wick towards the hottest part. So it seems like as you're moving the flame forward, the metal in front of it that's getting heated and trying to move towards that heat source, it's going to be a greater amount or velocity, or I guess overall, like,
yeah, I just put it as like it has residual, because the heat source is coming to meet that metal halfway, so that results in that metal having residual velocity left over, unlike the stuff that's trying to chase the flame.
Right, the stuff, yeah. So if you held the flame still, you would have an equal amount of the wicking coming towards the flame, and so it would be, you'd have a net zero, motion in the metal, other than just like this convection or whatever that might happen. But if you're moving the flame, then you end up with, a positive motion or a force in one direction, greater than the other. So it would start to spin, and it would spin in the opposite direction. Then you're moving the flame, because it's this stuff in front of the flame's motion is moving towards it, which is the other direction. I don't know if that makes sense. Hard to describe with just audio, but I'll draw a diagram and Russ will post it. I don't know.
So the next question, obviously, is, now that we all completely don't understand how the Mercury is rotating, does that create lift?
I don't know. I just seem to remember reading stuff about people doing weird shit with Mercury and there being lift. But I don't have any of those sources on me, and I'll just have to, have to hit the books.
So I've got this physics. So this guy's like, I have read some articles about ancient usage and perhaps not true usage of mercury being enclosed in a sealed container and being heated to a pretty high degree, and this caused the container to levitate. Is it probably just some kind of fantasy or anything to it? Right. And the physicists are like, well, there are a couple of ways of looking at this. If you get a metal like mercury or lead and heat it up enough, then you can hold it in your hand and it will levitate on a buffer of water vapor that evaporates from your skin. That sounds fun. But he also says, or you can levitate a drop of mercury, actually up to about 11 millimeters diameter, over a strong magnetic field, because the magnetohydrodynamic forces cause freaky turbulence inside the droplet, we think. But just to heat it and have it levitate, no.
Yeah.
Then this guy says,
that doesn't sound right.
If any conducting metal drops towards a strong magnetic field, eddy currents will be generated in the metal. The magnetic field of these currents will repel the magnetic field already there, the one that it's dropping towards. However, the eddy currents are dissipated by resistance in the metal, allowing the metal to fall towards the magnet just slowly. Even if some turbulent liquid flow gets going in the liquid mercury, I don't see how it could be sustained without some additional energy source. Yeah, the flame, bro.
Well, there's also the magnetic field of the Earth. So I don't know if you can, everybody says, well, it's not very strong, right? But yeah, there's obviously, if you get some kind of, like the physicist was talking about, weird turbulence in the metal, magnetic turbulence, and that's combining or negating the Earth's magnetic field, maybe you would have some lift, maybe not enough to pick up a massive stone spaceship, but
yeah, we're thinking lift here in terms of like the mercury seems to be lighter, like in other words, like something is holding it. It's still falling, right? But something is keeping it from falling as fast.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So the magnetic field of the Earth, like what the scientist is talking about with the magnet.
Right. This is interesting, though. He says typical metals are so weakly diamagnetic that you would need a very strong field changing over a very short distance to provide enough force to levitate them in the Earth's gravitational field. That means working with a very small sample of the metal, not a large object. Still, it's possible in principle. Some metals are not diamagnetic, but rather weakly paramagnetic. Earnshaw's theorem proves that such paramagnetic material cannot be levitated by any combination of static fields. Such metals can be levitated using the eddy currents induced by AC fields, but that requires a steady energy input. Very small animals, like tiny frogs, can be levitated in DC fields thanks to their diamagnetism.
That's badass.
The problems and the strengths of the required fields become enormous for larger animals such as ourselves. Although I believe that people are not seriously hurt by the largest standard lab field, say 15 Tesla. Those would not nearly be large enough to levitate anyone.
Yeah. Light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Why does that work? So I was basically looking up, rotating, oscillating liquid mercury effect. An experiment involving liquid mercury entailed a test setup wherein two weights were balanced on an extremely accurate scale. Underneath one of the weights, a quantity of liquid mercury was caused to oscillate by a high-powered, high-capacity pump. With the pump in operation, the balance indicated a minute loss in weight of mass located above the oscillating mercury. However, the ratio of input energy via the pump to weight loss was found to be impractically large to be able to develop any usable anti-gravity mechanism.
Funny that it's above and not below. Huh?
I think the idea is that anything above the oscillating mercury is shielded from the gravity of the Earth. Mm-hmm. That's wrong because we know gravity comes from outside.
It's negating the wave force coming from above.
Yeah,
I don't know. Mercury's fucking cool.
And it's not toxic. I mean, not in liquid form. People used to drink it.
Yeah,
straight up drink it.
Yeah. The weird thing is that these supposed butt flap guys were, getting liquid mercury somehow.
Right. That they could take cinnabar and refine it into liquid
cinnamon
mercury.
bar crunch.
I need some breakfast mercury.
Yeah.
Give me a cinnabar crunch.
Cinnabar crunch.
What was the smelting stuff you had to do to mercury? It was really complicated. We found this out. Brett found this out for us like a couple of shows ago, and we were like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
We were looking at how they like enormous quantities of mercury in these very ancient sites. Requires a lot of smelting, and the process was complicated, wasn't it? And required like 3,000 degrees and.
Yeah, he was also working on like an idea with the caves underneath the pyramid, and it was because there was what's that freaking fool's gold?
Pyrite.
Yeah, pyrite in there, and he was talking about how like that's actually used can be used in this in the smelting of mercury.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's like iron pyrite all over the inside of the cave.
That reminds me of what I've been wanting to ask you. Do you know Christopher Dunn's pyramid power theory? Do you know like the basics of it?
I couldn't recite it, but I do remember watching a video where he describes it, and I know it had something to do with like, acids and stuff inside the pyramid.
Yeah. So he wrote an article in that same book, and like he kind of just summarizes it, and I thought it was bad. I'd never read his.
Yeah, let's hear it. Fuck yeah.
So his idea basically is that they used these different like acids, which came. The acids filled the Queen's chamber, okay, and they would generate hydrogen gas, okay, and then so that the tunnels that go up to the King's chamber, you have to go through the Grand Gallery, and he's got all these. There's all these weird recesses at the Grand Gallery that he proposes have devices in there that are designed to get this oscillation going. Okay, he bases the whole thing on Schumann resonance or the Earth resonances. Okay, his idea of the power plant is that they were doing massive magnification of microwaves in the hydrogen using the resonance of hydrogen itself. Okay, because hydrogen has a resonance too; it has a frequency, right? So the reason the pyramid is built with all these very precise Earth measurements that make it sort of like this weird scale model of the Earth in a strange, it's an abstract scale model of the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
He says that all that's done because the source for the energy that they use to magnify the microwaves comes from the Earth's vibrations. Okay. And I can't remember. He proposed that some of the small pyramids that are kind of next to it, that there's these three little ones, that those were the starter engines, right? Because to get this enormous, like massive oscillation going in the big pyramid, you got to have these little guys down here, and they're like, and the big pyramid is like,
that's badass. Yeah.
yeah, and they're using water from the Nile, right, and everything like that, and it's going up so that the subterranean chamber and everything like that. So you've got this whole vibration going on, and it involves a bunch of harmonics too, because the king's and queen's chamber are harmonically sized to these same measurements,
ratios and stuff.
Yeah, to the same ratios. So you end up basically with the king's chamber full of hydrogen gas. Okay, the whole pyramid is like oscillating at this with all these earth resonances, and the king's chamber is full of hydrogen gas that is being charged with these earth resonances, and then a microwave beam comes down one of the king's shafts, okay, and enters the hydrogen, and then the hydrogen basically massively powers massively amplifies the microwave beam, and which then reflects and goes back out the other shaft. And when it comes back out the other side, it's like
it goes to the mothership.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if in his description he didn't describe what happened when the power left the pyramid, but like I assume that he had But yeah, it was very, and that's a rough description, but it was very interesting. Like he shows you how everything is tuned, right, and how the microwave comes in at the specific frequency, and the hydrogen. This is the frequency of hydrogen, right, and all this stuff. Yeah. It was really cool. And he was like, "This is their power plant."
That just the idea of the what is it, the Grand Gallery and those little notches and stuff that are in it, like the way you were describing that, these things that go in there, it made me think of a battery.
Yeah,
like the way a car battery is kind of set up is like you got the acid, and there's these different reservoirs inside the battery, and there's all these plates that are, I don't know what the actual chemical makeup of them are, but they're basically like an insulator that is sort of like a screen, right?
Yeah.
It's where the electrical charge can pass through, but it has resistance. It has to go through these plates, and it can only do it extremely slowly.
Right.
Right. It can only pass through really slowly through this sort of thick filter of this other material.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Whatever. And so that's what I was just thinking, like in the Grand Gallery, if it was full of all these things, and they get, I guess after a while they'll either, that's why like a battery will expand, because the plates in there start getting filled up or corroded or whatever, and they start puffing out.
Oh yeah.
The screens or whatever, and so the battery gets all bulgy on the sides and everything.
No, wait, so that happened out in Hondo, and it made this crazy weird squeaking noise.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I think the battery was expanding, and you were like, well, you have a good imagination. I was like, what? What?
I've never seen it happen.
I didn't see it either, but it was like inside the little container it was in.
Yeah, there's like little, in a lot of batteries, there's the little ports at the top where you can put new acid in or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes those will like, they'll leak out, or that you'll hear it like because there's air that's trying to squeeze out.
That could be what it was. Yeah, that could totally be what it was. It was whistling instead of. Yeah.
When they get hot or whatever, like a lot of times, you'll even hear some of the liquid in there boiling a little bit if you got a big problem.
Yeah, I can't remember what the exact problem was, but it was that the guy had completely misread the entire electrical system of that tractor.
Wired it up backwards or some shit.
Well, yeah, and the batteries were in parallel or in series with each other, and he thought that they weren't, and one of them just went and made all this crazy noise. I was like, dude, unhook everything. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like I've got this,
but they talked about how the pyramid has these, expansion or areas where it had like been massively pushed apart or whatever.
Yeah, especially the subterranean chamber looks like it, like the ceiling especially looks like it's been pounded into powder. Like something was going and like really hitting it with a lot of force. And they were
talking about how the 8 sides instead of 4 was like some like collapsing or whatever.
Oh yeah. Like it broke its back across 90-degree angles. Yeah.
But I was just thinking if it was acting as a battery and there were like, there was some kind of meltdown in there.
Yeah, that's true.
You could have.
Okay, let's see what Dunn says here. He talks about seismic energies or whatever. So the Earth's energy includes mechanical, thermal, electrical, magnetic, nuclear, and a chemical action, each a source for sound. It would follow, therefore, that the energy at work in the Earth would generate sound waves that would be related to the particular vibration of the energy creating it and the material through which it passes. The audible hum of an electric motor operating at 3,600 RPM would fall well below the level of human hearing if it were to slow down to 1 revolution every 24 hours, as in the case of the Earth. What goes unnoticed as we go about our daily lives is our planet's inaudible fundamental pulse. On the other end of the scale, any electrical stimulation within the Earth of piezoelectrical materials such as quartz would generate sound waves far above the range of human hearing.
Yeah.
Materials undergoing stress within the Earth can emit bursts of ultrasonic radiation. Materials undergoing plastic deformation emit a signal of lower amplitude than when the deformation is such to reproduce cracks. Ball lightning has been speculated to be gas ionized by electricity from quartz-bearing rocks such as granite that is subject to stress. Okay.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. Like these massive chunks of crystal under the earth being flexed by geologic,
it makes UFOs.
Oscillations and shit. Like there's got to be piezoelectric effects happening in all over the place.
Right, or that may be the source of like weird portals. People just disappearing. If you walk over that crystal, it gets stretched, you're gone. So let's see. Facilitated by the element that fuels our sun, hydrogen, and uniting the energy of the universe with that of the Earth, the ancient Egyptians could have converted vibrational energy into microwaves. For the power plant to function, the designers and operators had to induce vibration in the Great Pyramid that was in tune with the harmonic resonant vibrations of the Earth. Once the pyramid was vibrating in tune with the Earth's pulse, it became a coupled oscillator and could sustain the transfer of energy from the Earth with little or no feedback. The 3 smaller pyramids on the east side of the Great Pyramid may have been used to assist the Great Pyramid in achieving resonance, much like today we use smaller gasoline engines to start large diesel engines. So let us now turn the key on this amazing power plant and see how it operated. The Queen's Chamber, located in the center of the pyramid and directly below the King's Chamber, contains peculiarities entirely different than those observed in the King's Chamber. The Queen's Chamber characteristics indicate that its specific purpose was to produce fuel, which is of paramount importance for any power plant. Although it would be difficult to pinpoint exactly what process took place inside the Queen's Chamber, it appears a chemical reaction repeatedly took place there. The residual substance the process left behind, which are the salts on the chamber wall, and what can be deduced from artifacts, grapnel hook and cedar-like wood, and structural details, Gantenbrink's door, for example, are too prominent to be ignored. They all indicate that the energy created in the King's Chamber was the result of the efficient operation of the hydrogen-generating Queen's Chamber. The equipment that provided the priming pulses was most likely housed in the subterranean pit. Before or at the time the key was turned to start the priming pulses, a supply of chemicals was pumped into the northern and southern shafts of the Queen's Chamber, filling them until contact was made between the grapnel hook and the electrodes that were sticking out of the door.
That's what I was thinking too.
Seeping through the lefts, which are the pieces of rock that were left between the chamber and the shafts. Mm-hmm. Seeping through the lefts in the Queen's Chamber, these chemicals combined to produce hydrogen gas, which filled the interior passageways and chambers of the pyramid. The waste from the spent chemicals flowed along the horizontal passage and down the well shaft. Okay. Induced by priming pulses of vibration tuned to the resonant frequency of the entire structure, the vibration of the pyramid gradually increased in amplitude and oscillated in harmony with the vibrations of the Earth. Harmonically coupled with the Earth, the vibrational energy then flowed in abundance from the Earth through the pyramid and influenced a series of tuned resonators housed in the Grand Gallery, where the vibration was converted into airborne sound. By virtue of the acoustical design of the Grand Gallery, the sound was focused through the passage leading into the King's Chamber. Only frequencies in harmony with the resonant frequency of the King's Chamber were allowed to pass through because of an acoustic filter that was housed in the antechamber. That's the doors, the portcullis doors.
Yeah.
Okay. The King's Chamber was the heart of the Giza power plant, an impressive power center comprised of thousands of tons of granite containing 55% silicon quartz crystal. The chamber was designed to minimize any damping of vibration, and its dimensions created a resonant cavity that was in harmony with the incoming acoustical energy. As the granite vibrated in sympathy with the sound, it stressed the quartz in the rock and stimulated electrons to flow by what is known as the piezoelectric effect.
Yeah.
The energy that filled the King's Chamber at that point became a combination of acoustical energy and electromagnetic. Both forms of energy covered a broad spectrum of harmonic frequencies, from the fundamental infrasonic frequencies of the Earth to the ultrasonic and higher electromagnetic microwave frequencies. The hydrogen freely absorbed this energy, for the designers of the Giza power plant had made sure that the frequencies at which the King's chamber resonated were harmonics of the frequency at which hydrogen resonates.
That's fucking awesome.
As a result, the hydrogen atom, which consists of one proton and one electron, efficiently absorbed this energy, and its electron was pumped into a much higher energy state. The northern shaft served as a conduit or waveguide, and its original metal lining, which passed with extreme precision through the pyramid to the outside, served to channel a microwave signal into the King's chamber. The microwave signal that flowed through this waveguide may have been the same signal that we know today is created by the atomic hydrogen that fills the universe and that is constantly bombarding the Earth. So in other words, it just comes up, this signal comes free.
Yeah.
The whole universe is making it all the time, right? So the pyramid is basically just focusing it. Yeah, this microwave signal probably was reflected off the outside face of the pyramid and then focused down into the northern shaft. Traveling through the King's chamber and passing through a crystal box amplifier located in its path, the input signal increased in power as it interacted with the highly energized hydrogen atoms inside the resonating box amplifier and in the chamber itself. This interaction forced the electrons back to their natural ground state. In turn, the hydrogen atoms released a packet of energy of the same type and frequency as the input. This stimulated emission. This is kind of like a hydrogen laser. This stimulated emission was entrained with the input signal and followed the same path. The process built exponentially, occurring trillions of times over. What entered the chamber as a low-energy signal became a collimated parallel beam of immense power, as it was collected in a microwave receiver housed in the south wall of the King's chamber and then directed through the metal-lined southern shaft to the outside of the pyramid. This tightly collimated beam was the reason for all the science, technology, craftsmanship, and untold hours of work that went into the designing, testing, and building of the Giza power plant.
Maybe they built it to destroy a fucking asteroid.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They knew where all the astronomy, everything they knew. They're like, all right, let's build this thing because we know exactly where it's coming.
Yeah.
We're going to build it right here, and we're going to point that beam right this way where it's going to be, and it just fucking destroy it.
He also suggests that, like...
And it exploded into a bunch of little bits and went and destroyed everything.
And just sank Atlantis. Damn it.
Damn it.
They cast ice comment. Well, he suggests that, like, he's like, look, there's so much evidence of enormous machine work on the stonework all over the place. He's like, they had to have power. This is his idea, because people are like, well, where did they get the power to power these so-called, like, powered machines that they were cutting all the stone with that you think they were using? And he's like, from the pyramid, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
He says it was most likely used for the same reasons we would use it today: power machines and appliances. We know from examining ancient Egyptian stone artifacts that ancient craftspeople had to have created them using machinery and tools that needed electricity to run. However, the means by which they distributed the energy produced by the Giza power plant may have been a very different process from any we use today. The other thing it could be doing was just charging...
Yeah, ionizing some
the layer
of the atmosphere or some
atmosphere, just like
and then the obelisks were picking it up.
Right, exactly. Yep.
They're kind of short.
I lack hard evidence to support any speculation about their process, and I will not address that issue now. But I will offer several hypotheses in the next chapter. Anyway, I thought that was really cool.
Yep. Well, that seems like a power plant.
Yeah, he said his thinking was that, like, if our culture was destroyed or whatever, and you're looking at it thousands of years later, the largest structures that we would have left over would be our power plants. I mean, like, we'd build these enormous, incredibly strong structures for power plants, like the Hoover Dam, you know. And he's like, so if I was going to look, so people are challenging me, like, well, where do they get the power for these machines? And he's like, well, then I need to look for the largest structure, which is clearly the pyramid. So can that be a power plant?
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher Dunn. I love that kind of thinking, man. That's really great shit.
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm out of stuff to talk about for this week.
I love sitting around thinking about the harmonic resonances of atoms
everything.
And shit. Yeah, everything. I just love that. I love thinking about that.
Look, I want to do this mercury thing.
Well, we need a lot of mercury first. You
Okay.
can buy it on fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
Just get some.
Let's just get and we'll drink it. And then once we shit it out, we
And
can
then
try
we'll
it
pass a flame around in a circle underneath us.
and see if we float. The Foo Fighters were supposedly, the theory was that the Foo Fighters were just spheres of contained mercury that had some kind of heat source. That's why they were little balls of light chasing the pilots in World War II.
Mm.
I'm not talking about the band. Yeah, I'm talking about the...
Oh, damn it. There goes my Viamana. Watch it as he goes.
God. There goes my spaceship. Yeah. All right, folks. I think that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening.
This is like every hour on the hour.
It is.
We used to do this little road show, and we called it Every Hour on the Hour. Every hour, we would turn the video camera on and do like a short little update on our road trip. And it was never on the hour.
Yeah. But we always said that it was exactly on the hour. It's 2:15.
We're going to do a 2-hour show. We're going to have 30-minute segments. And we're actually doing it right now.
Wow.
For the first time.
Yeah, so shut up and let me finish.
I'm sorry. Just trying to derail it.
Yeah, so you guys can get a hold of us at the blog at brothersoftheserpent.blogspot.com. You can go there and comment. You can email us, if you prefer that, at brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com. And I'm not telling you guys to go on iTunes and give us badass reviews, but you should go on iTunes and give us badass reviews.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you to do that, but you should. You probably should do it. Because that helps us. You know, if you think we suck, you should especially do it if you think we suck, because that'll make other people listen to us, and they'll also hear that we suck. You know, you can spread it around. Right? So thank you guys very much. We'll catch you next week when we do another episode. Good night, Adamu. Get back to work.
Snakes.